Hi, and welcome to Tax Accounting, Taxes 1, Accounting 401. I'm your instructor, ldunn. I'm going to give you a brief overview, look at some important aspects of the syllabus, talk about how we will be using Connect in the registration process, and the discussion board, class introduction that will be required in your orientation, as well as an email to me. So let's get started with a brief overview. In this course, you will be learning about individual tax law. So all the rules and laws you will be learning and tax forms have to do with creating an individual income tax return. So if you're interested in doing a partnership or a corporation income tax return, you would need to take another class, and that's usually advanced taxes that covers those types of entities. Believe me, we have enough to cover with individuals, and we won't even have enough time all semester to get everything in. So it's really more of a good look at the individual tax return, but we don't look at every single item. Just the common ones. That's first. Second, we will be utilizing the tax law for 2018 tax returns. Now, when you're starting this course, it's going to be the year 2019. During the year 2019, we will be preparing last year's or 2018's tax return. In 2017, at the end of the year, there was a massive tax law change. It was one of the most comprehensive tax law changes since 1986. Your book and our time together will be focusing on the tax year 2018. Now, we will be completing tax returns. When your book was written, the tax return forms for 2018 were not available. So a lot of the times when you see a tax form, it will say 2017 on it. Please know that we are completing 2018's tax return. I have a simulated return for 2018 where I guessed at how that tax form would change. I have that available to you to complete tax returns. Also, the IRS in the beginning of December finally printed the 2018 1040. Usually, the tax forms for that year's tax return aren't usually available until that time, November or December. When we don't have massive tax law changes, it's really not a big deal. But the 1040, which is the tax return we will be learning, the Form 1040, has changed significantly since the 2017's tax year. So, as I said, I simulated what I thought the 2018 tax form would look like. It's also the actual one is available. So you can use either one to complete a tax return that may be required in your material. If you have any questions about this during the semester, please don't hesitate to email me. So let's take a look at what the course details will be. Sorry about that. I had a little pause in the action. Okay. So here's our syllabus, and you can access the syllabus in the orientation folder in detail. I just want to bring out some of the parts that I want to make you aware of and talk to you about them through this presentation. The first is my contact information. I don't have a physical office on campus per se. I'm guessing that the office I've had in the past while teaching on campus will be still available, and it's in the Interloco building. One of the first rooms when you walk in on that bottom floor. It's over on the left-hand side. They don't have an official number on it, but if you wanted to come and see me, please let me know, I'm on campus 1:20 to 2:20 on Wednesdays. I also will be holding virtual office hours through Blackboard Collaborate, and that will be exclusively for our class. So if you have any questions at all, need clarification on any of the material, practice problems, graded assignments, etc., do not hesitate to come to that office hour. If you need to see me individually, speak to me individually, I also am available to do that. We will just have to try to find a mutual time that we can chat about your issue. Okay, so just want to make you aware of that and my contact information. The course outline, this is the syllabus, required material. Your cheapest option, so the least expensive option for purchasing the book you will need and the access card for Connect, is through the Misericordia bookstore. It will only cost around $118. It could be a little bit more. You also have the option of just purchasing the Connect access card and renting the book, but the Connect access card alone is somewhere around $140. I was very lucky working with McGraw-Hill and my book rep to be able to bring you this cost-saving offer, and this will be one of the most discounted prices you will find for the book. Please get to the bookstore and purchase it. If you have any problems with doing that, email me immediately. We will get it resolved. Please also note, in case I forget to tell you this later on, when you can register for Connect as soon as possible, even without your book. You can have free access to the Connect website. Connect is where we will complete a majority of our assessments, quizzes, problems, graded assignments, graded tax returns. Okay, so you do need access to it. You can register for it for free for 2 weeks, and then you will need permanent access. Also, you will have the ability to see the e-text during that free trial. The course technology we'll be using in here, of course, is Blackboard Learn, Connect. You can have available PowerPoint if you want. There are PowerPoints, and Adobe Reader. Now, this is very small. I know it's just a Blackboard image, but once you're in, you've been into the course and you clicked on the orientation folder, you'll complete all the steps in the orientation. For each chapter, though, you will see there's detailed information about what you need to complete. The first is you should read the chapter at least once. 2 or 3 times will probably do the trick. The second thing you should do is view and listen to the voice lecture for the chapter. These are all on the YouTube platform, so you'll be able to even listen to them from your phone or your tablet. And it is me providing you instruction on the material for the chapter. After you do these steps, you can take the optional, there's discussion questions at the end of each chapter to help reinforce and make sure you're understanding the material. Great way to test yourself. There are answer keys available in each chapter's folder. Then you can start completing the practice assignments for each chapter. There is a link within each folder in Blackboard that will take you to the McGraw-Hill website to complete these practice assignments. There's varying number of assignments. They're all based on 100%. These are not included as part of your final grade. They're meant for practice. So you'll take them as many times as you want until you master the material. There's aids out there to help you in solving these assignments. And you must receive an 80% or higher on an attempt in order to have access to the next part, which is your graded assignment. And I'm sorry, I see on there, and I'll have to fix this, there's 2 number 5s. Unfortunately, when I change numbers around in Blackboard, it doesn't automatically update those numbers for me, so I will correct that. But your next step is to complete the graded assignment. The graded assignment are very similar types of problems as your practice. You only get 2 attempts on these. They have strict due dates, and they're usually a Sunday. But please take note of the calendar in the syllabus and mark down all those due dates in case a date changes. But I generally try to keep them a Sunday night. Chapter work is due. You will lose 5 points per day if it is turned in late. You do not have to complete these in one sitting. You can save your work and finish an attempt later. And then the higher of the 2 attempts, which, by the way, if you do an attempt and you say, oh, I got about 30% of it wrong. Well, the 70% you have correct will stay correct. And the second attempt is to go in and resolve the issues you had with your first attempt. So it's not going to give you the answers after your first attempt. It's up to you to try to figure out what you did wrong and correct it so that you could attain the higher grade. Now, these graded assignments will be averaged at the end of the semester and become 25% of your final grade. You will then complete a quiz, which is about 20 true and false. It accounts for 5% of your final grade, and it also has a due date. The highest score of taking this quiz is what will be included as your quiz grade for that chapter. You'll lose 5% or 5 points per day for late submissions. You'll receive detailed feedback after the due date of the quiz. So please keep that in mind. A lot of people start emailing me, I can't see the answers. Well, for some of the items, they won't be seen until after the due date. Some chapters, there's about 5 chapters, will require a graded tax return to be completed. These will all be completed within Connect. Some of them you'll complete the tax return in a separate file and then upload it into Connect. If you have any issues with any of this, please be sure to email me. Some are just fill in the blank. You will have 2 attempts to complete a tax return. The first attempt will retain all correct answers, and on your second attempt, you'll just revise the incorrect ones. You'll have due dates on these as well. You'll lose 5 points per day for submissions after the due date, and these account for 15% of your final grade. Each chapter you must complete a discussion board participation posting. This is where you're going to ask questions about the material you don't understand. You're asking the other students in the class, kind of like a study group. And if you feel confident that you can answer someone else's question, you should do it. If you're not positive about your answer, be careful and don't give them incorrect information. But you are required to post a question and answer someone else's question to receive full credit for that chapter's participation. And as you can see there, I said a statement such as, I agree with you, is not considered an answer to someone else's question. State why you agree with them. And then finally, each chapter offers optional extra credit. It is what we call a Learn Smart activity. It is where you will read and answer questions about the material. It's going to take you about 30 minutes to complete, and you'll receive 2 points of extra credit for each chapter you complete. These will be added to your test scores at the end of the semester when I average your test scores. So that's what you'll be completing each chapter. Again, there are all of the items. Now, things to remember. The participation discussion board postings are worth 5% of your grade. I don't think I have that listed there, but please, yes, it's up in the top. Graded problems are 25% of your final grade. Quizzes are 5%. Graded tax returns are 15%. Tests will be given after that should be 3 chapters. After 3 chapters, I'm finding problems with my thing. So after 3 chapters, so you'll have a total of 4 tests this semester, and they will account for 50% of your final grade. They are multiple choice and open-ended questions where you will basically type in your answer. I expect you to give me as much information as possible so I can administer partial credit for those open-ended questions. I just don't want to see a number. If I see a number, and it's wrong, I got to mark the whole thing wrong. And some of these are 10, 15 points. So please provide as much information as possible. Multiple choice, if it's a problem type of question and you did some work up on it on a separate sheet of paper, you have the option of scanning that work or typing it into an email and submitting it to me within 20 minutes of completing the exam for partial credit on multiple choice. But open-ended questions, I expect all work to be completed within Connect. These tests will be averaged together and account for 50% of your final grade. They're approximately, you get 90 minutes on some, maybe 2 hours on others. You have to complete them in one sitting. Any late tests will lose late points. One item that we'll be talking about is a project. It's a comprehensive tax return project that will be counted as a test. And you'll see that in the course information area of Blackboard. And there it is. It's a comprehensive tax return project that counts as a test grade. So it's really demonstrating your understanding of the entire semester. It's due on May 8th, and you actually complete the tax returns for a client. The information for the client is in the project folder at the very end of the course information area in Blackboard where your orientation is. You can use the simulated tax forms within the project folder or the actual 2018 tax returns. What's nice about the 2018 actual IRS tax returns, there is a link to the IRS's website, but they are fillable, meaning you could download them into Adobe and enter the numbers right into the form. Please be very careful when you go this route. Make sure all of the numbers you entered save into the form properly. And the only way you could usually achieve that is to actually have it in Adobe. So if you open it in a browser, it may not save correctly. Please be very, very careful of that. I've had many students send me a blank 1040 and they're like, I put everything in there. I'm like, it's not there. If you use the simulated form, you can download them into Adobe, and if you're an Adobe guru and have the ability, you can make them fillable yourself, or you can manually write the information into the form. I ask that either way you do this, you scan or save the information so that it's one file, and then you upload it into the Dropbox by the due date of May 8th. Please don't wait to start this. Download the information about the project as soon as possible. Just start reading through it, and as we're going through the information in the chapters, work on it because it is a comprehensive project and the due date will sneak up on you very quickly, and it is a test grade. If there's any kind of problems with reading any of the material, you need to let me know early. You should be able to see everything in the file, or if you have questions about it, please make sure you ask me about it. The course grade, again, is determined. 50% is exams, graded problems, exams and the project, extra credit. Graded problems are 25%. Those are your graded assignments in Connect. Quizzes 5%. Your graded tax returns 15%. And then that weekly discussion board posting, asking questions and answering, 5% of your grade. And then the normal number to letter conversion for Misericordia Business Department is listed below. This is also in your syllabus. Now, let's just make sure we're all on the same page with how I determine your grade. First of all, when you look in Blackboard, my grade book is not set up yet exactly as it should be. What is there? I have all of your quizzes and your average quiz. I have all your tax returns and your average tax return grade, your graded assignments and your average graded assignments. I will show you your test scores, your extra credit, but your test average will not be computed until the very end of the semester. It's just because of the nuances of Blackboard, that's how I have to do it. So if any time during the semester you want to know what your grade is, you need to compute it. Now, something else to remember. When you see the average for your quiz or your tax returns or your graded assignments, I already have that set up as if everything was done for the semester. So if you get 100 on your first quiz, it's going to take 100 divided by 12 quizzes, and that's going to be your average. Okay, so it's not a here's your average as we go type of grade book. It's set up already assuming the whole semester's over. So that average will keep increasing. So at any point in time, you have to do this computation. And if you want me to double check it, send me a detail information about how you determined your grade, and I will verify that you did it correctly. But just so you can get a feel for this, I take each test grade, add them together, your tax project, and your extra credit points. In this example, we're going to say you completed 6 points of extra credit. I'm going to add all those test grades, the project, so there's 5 items, extra credit, and then 371 would be your total, divided by the 5 tests, your average for your tests, 74.2. Then I do that for each of the other categories. So I'll add up all your graded tax returns grades, divide by the number of tax returns. Same with graded assignments and quizzes. And then I will weight that average based on the applicable percentage. Exams are worth 50% of your final grade. So 50% times the 74.2 average. If your graded tax return average grade was 75, I multiply that by 15%. Graded assignment, if your graded assignment average is an 85, multiply that by 25%, and so on. Then I will add all of those weighted answers together to get your final grade. So it's a little bit different than maybe some of the instructors that you're used to. So please keep this in mind, and that's why I go over it in detail. Some people look at points and go, oh, I took this many points by this many points, I should have an A. I'm like, no, that's not how I grade. So please be careful of that. Please make sure you review the academic integrity in the course syllabus. Contacting the instructor, I ask that you contact me via Blackboard, email. I will respond to you within 24 hours, and I also expect you to respond to me within 24 hours. So if you send me an email requesting something, an answer, or not an answer even, or just guidance on something, I will answer you within 24 hours. I would like you, if you have any more questions, then to answer me within 24 hours. Or if you make a request for something. Sometimes we have extenuating circumstances. I look at it a case-by-case basis, that if you need a little extra time on something and you email me Saturday and say, I'm not going to get this done Sunday, could I have till Monday? I'm going to answer you on Sunday and say yes or no. I can't have you email me on Tuesday going, oh, I didn't realize you gave me an extension. You lost out on it. Okay, so please keep that in mind. Tutoring services are available at campus, and remember, utilize the office hours. I have people in my evaluation say she wasn't accessible, but I always had office hours and nobody would come to them. So if you can't make it to an office hour, please let me know and I can talk to you one-on-one. Not a big deal. There's accessibility services, or if you're in need of those, and that is in with the syllabus. I ask that you please make them aware of any issues you may have with accessibility so that I could accommodate you properly. And finally, you know the syllabus is subject to change sometimes. I will always make you aware of any changes that are made. So that's the syllabus. The rest of the orientation, I ask that you create a calendar of due dates. You register for Connect. There's a separate YouTube video to show you that process. You complete an introduction on the discussion board of yourself, following the guidelines I presented. And the last part of the orientation is sending me an email, and I provide you guidelines on how to complete that. So if you can venture through the rest of the orientation, complete all the different parts, and make sure you send me any kind of questions you may have, that would be spectacular, and you'll be on your way. Once you're finished with the orientation, begin the chapter, begin the course. Some students will send me an email, do you mind if I work ahead? Absolutely not. I think that's wonderful. Just make sure you have stuff completed by the due dates, and always know I'm available for your guidance. Well, let's get started then. I wish you all the best of luck, and I look forward to working with you.